No, 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 no.
Tigers. Fight. Mike, it's not even a top 1,000 moment all time.
Okay, Tommy, shut the hell up, man.
Mike! Of course, I'm gonna go with the right answer. It's Ryan Eads of the Baltimore Orioles. He's only wore the number 80 for 8 games. He's only one of 2 players.
You know what? No, I'm not going to take this.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are here with episode 116 today. It's all about the NFL playoffs. The NFL players are right around the corner this weekend. We got some exciting stuff to talk about. But first, we have the GOAT of the state of Missouri. So in Missouri, there are 3 pro sports teams: the Kansas City Royals, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the St. Louis Cardinals. All right. So we got to pick one of the guys from one of these teams to pick as the quote unquote current GOAT of the state. Takes many different things into account. But first, I got to swing it to Matt. Matt, you were petting your Packers hat right there. And seems like you're really in the football type of mood. So are you going to go with the football player today?
Well, of course, Mike. I have to stick with the football theme today, and I'm going to go over to the Kansas City Chiefs, of course. Not the St. Louis Rams. They're no longer there, but the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm going to go with the star. It's a most obvious pick if you're going to Kansas City Chiefs, and that's Patrick Mahomes, my homeboy, the State Farm commercial guy, other than Aaron Rodgers, of course. When he came into the league, sat behind Alex Smith for a year, and right after that, his first full season starting, won the MVP, a 12-4 record, 50 whopping touchdowns, a touchdown percentage of 8.6. And ever since then, he has really just had a tremendous career in Kansas City, a record of 11-3. The next year, 14-1 in 2020. And this year, it took a little hit, 12-5, but still is playing good football at the end of this season. You know, the Chiefs are 2 seed. We'll talk about the Chiefs later in this episode. But yeah, 4-time All-Pro or 1-time All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, 1-time Super Bowl champion, the MVP, like I said. And I understand that he's much younger than probably a guy who Tommy or Mike might pick. But what Patrick Mahomes has done in this football league and coming in, and he's really just been one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best, every single year since he started the league. So I have to go with Patrick. Not too much, years, and his resume hasn't been fully built yet, but just what he's been able to do gives me enough evidence to put him as the greatest in the state of Missouri.
Mr. Baseball, are you going to the Cardinals or the Royals to challenge Patrick Mahomes, or are you sticking with football?
Of course, I'm going to go with a baseball guy here. And, very hard to dispute Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, one of the best quarterbacks in the game today. So, certainly don't want to discredit what he's done, but I'm going to go with somebody who's had a longer career, like you said, Matt. Yadier Molina, catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's a 10-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion. He's won 9 Gold Gloves. I mean, he's done about everything that you can do on a baseball field. He's got a Silver Slugger, 4 Platinum Gloves as well, and 2,100 hits, 171 career home runs. Not really a power hitter, but he is a 280 lifetime hitter, which, is incredible for a catcher. And, we mentioned the defensive awards that he has, and, just the way he's able to call a game, truly one of the best catchers, certainly in recent memory. And, got to go with Yadier Molina today.
That's a great pick from both you guys. And Tommy, I'm gonna have to agree with you. Even though Patrick Mahomes, he's been absolutely phenomenal in his 4 years, almost 4 years now starting, right? But Molina's career since 2004 has just, he's just racked up more awards and more stats to put himself over Patrick Mahomes. If Mahomes had a few more years under his belt, then I go with him. But it's still so early in his career that I got to go with Molina, just given on his body of work. He's one of the best defensive catchers of all time. Really, him and Johnny Bench, the top 2 in that conversation. You could throw some others in there. But those are really the two guys I think of when I come to the best defending catchers of all time. And he's still been pretty serviceable, more than serviceable with the bat. I mean, there's really not much else to dive into than just obviously at Mahomes' peak, he is better than Molina, right? But given that Molina has been playing since 2004 at a very, very, very high level, I got to go with him.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing. Patrick Mahomes is. We talked about this earlier before we started. Patrick Mahomes is making a ton of money. Probably making more money than Molina's ever made in his career, I would think. Right, Tommy?
Oh, not even close, for sure. I mean, Patrick's contract to me is a little crazy. I mean, the amount of money he makes is absurd, but he's a great player. So
Yeah, I mean, we looked at the breakdown. He makes $1.60 every second. And makes, what did I tell you guys? Well, how much an hour? I can't remember what I told you, but
It's
15,000.
like five grand an
5,000.
hour.
Oh, $5,000. Yeah, $5,000 an hour. It's absolutely insane. If you ask me, it's heavily overpaid, but it is Patrick Mahomes, who is probably going to be at the top of the quarterback list for, I don't know, 10 years. We'll see how his career goes.
It's going to be interesting to see that contract when it comes down to the wire, because obviously it's backloaded. And pretty much what the Chiefs did, they just predicted like the quarterback market and set that price to Mahomes. It's going to be interesting to see if he can maintain that high level of play, and if the Chiefs are still going to be able to build a Super Bowl roster around him.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs' whole goal was to be able to sign Tyreek and Travis, or maybe one of them, because the backload of his contract. But yeah, we'll have to see how the Chiefs do. Made the Super Bowl last year, won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Obviously, a Super Bowl favorite for the AFC coming into this year. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be diving into the NFL playoffs that start on Saturday, and we're going to be giving our final Super Bowl predictions. Welcome back to Go Chat. We are back. Like I said, we're going to be talking all NFL here. We're going to be going through the first round of the playoffs, and we're going to be going through our final Super Bowl predictions, probably going to be our final predictions until that Super Bowl game for Go Picks, which we will have. But we got 6 great games to look forward to. We got 2 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and then we have a Monday night one for the first time. Maybe hopefully watching the Peyton and Eli cast that Monday, because we know ESPN broadcasts just don't work out. But we'll start with the AFC side, and we'll go to the first game, or the first seeding game, which is the number 2 Kansas City Chiefs versus the number 7 Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, if you live under a rock, the Pittsburgh Steelers did make the playoffs. The Colts lost
just barely.
The Colts lost to the Jaguars, which, if you don't know Carson Wentz, that's a Carson Wentz thing to do. I can't believe that I really defended that guy for so long.
This is kind of off topic, but that's so ridiculous, the Carson Wentz hype, that I saw like some stuff on TikTok like saying that him and Dak were on the same level again. I was like, get out of here. And it was just so funny to see how the season ended for him. Anyways, sorry, Matt, continue.
No words. Just if you want my response, just go look what Dan Orlovsky said on Get Up or whatever show he's on, and that's my same response. But going back to this, Steelers edged out the Ravens, and then it gets better. We had the Vegas Raiders versus the Los Angeles Chargers Sunday night game. If they tied, both of them would make it in, and they almost tied. It was 30 seconds left in the game when the Chargers called a timeout. It really looked like the Raiders were going to run out the clock. We don't really know what they were truly going to do. Chargers call a timeout. They run the ball with Jacobs, and Jacobs gets a 12-yard run, and Daniel Carlson nails a field goal to give the Steelers a playoff berth. So the Steelers are in it, whether they deserve it or not. But that's our first game. 2 Kansas City Chiefs. They're favored by 12, I think, to Pittsburgh Steelers. Tommy, do you have any hope for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I don't. I mean, the last time they played, I forget the score, but they got beat so badly. I remember watching part of it, and it was a tough loss. I know that Mike Tomlin, they asked him, like, if they think that there's anything to take away that can help, and he said, absolutely no positives, and no, nothing really to build off of there. So I don't have much hope. And, as you mentioned, Patrick Mahomes is just incredible. So, um, I don't see an upset here, but you never know. But I'm going to pick the Chiefs in this one.
It's a positive way to look at it, Tommy. Yeah, the Chiefs were beating the Steelers so bad that CBS actually changed to a different game until that game ended. I think it was Dave showed the Vegas Raiders and Denver Broncos game till that game ended. Then they made it back to the Kansas City game. Mike, I feel like we're both going to agree with Tommy at this point.
Yeah, the Chiefs are going to absolutely blow out the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers are one of the worst playoff teams we've seen in a while, to be frank. Like their pass defense is pretty good. They're top 10, but they have the worst rush defense in the NFL, they allow the most yards over the entirety of the season, which is surprising considering, the Steelers stature and, built all off defense and stuff like that. And I think they're going to win by at least 2 touchdowns. No doubt Chiefs in my mind.
Yeah, it helps the Steelers a little bit that the Chiefs are more of a pass heavy team. But regardless, Patrick Mahomes is gonna literally find every single hole and nail it down. I think the Chiefs are gonna win. Quite possibly, I could see it by 15 and more. It's gonna be an absolute blowout. Speaking of blowouts, we're gonna head over to we'll go to the Bills Patriots game. This game is going to be a part of Go Picks. We have 4 games that are part of Go Picks. Bills Patriots are not going to be a blowout. It's more going to be a close game. They've played twice already. We had the windy game where the Patriots literally ran the ball so far down the Bills' throat that they just won that game. And then we had another game where the Josh Allen really shined out, and I think Connor picked him for Goat of the Week. Unfortunately, Connor is not with us today. He is traveling to Los Angeles. But I do know that Connor picked Buffalo for this game and for Goat Picks, and I am going to have to agree with him. I'm going to go with Buffalo here. I think that it's Mac Jones' first game in the playoffs. I really like the defense, but I just think Josh Allen is going to find a way, and he's made it to the playoffs twice now. His first time around was so bad, but his second time around was pretty good where they made the conference finals. And I think the Bills are just going to ride off that momentum and win this game. I'll throw it to you, Mike.
Yeah, you kind of broke it down pretty good there. I think I do think that the Bills are going to win this game as well. And the Bills have quietly, been one of the best teams in the league. They have statistically the best defense in terms of yards and points allowed. So they've been really good on that side of the ball. And of course, the offense is still very dynamic as well. Third in the league in points for. And I just got to go with the Bills here, especially because Mac Jones struggled in their past matchup, and he struggled last week. I think he might have a little bit of a rough go against the NFL's best defense. And to be fair, Josh Allen made some insane plays that are unlikely to happen again in their last matchup. But I think the Bills will be able to edge out their divisional foe.
We'll have to check on I didn't think to check the Buffalo weather because maybe if it's windy again, New England might have a upside on that. Tommy, you gonna roll with the home team?
I am going to roll with the home team. And I was listening to ESPN yesterday, and the weather is going to be below 0, which, you can have that in New England as well. So it's not like there's, a major advantage, but I think it certainly, does help the Bills. They're used to that cold weather, but they're just the better team here, in my opinion. And, it's tough to pick against Bill Belichick, but the same time, I think this is the Bills' year to, at least make it further into the postseason. So, I got to take the Bills in this one. But yeah, weather will play a factor for sure.
Yeah, one way that weather can really play a factor is with Mac Jones. I mean, Josh Allen's seen Buffalo weather for snow and wind for like 4 years now. Mac Jones hasn't seen snow till this year. Same thing with Najee Harris. Maybe it's an Alabama thing. You boys from Florida and I think Texas or California. So I think that could really play a role, Tommy, there. But yeah, the weather conditions aren't in favor of the Patriots. But we got another great game. Like I said, the Vegas Raiders snuck their way kind of into the playoffs after defeating the Chargers on Sunday night. They're going up against the Bengals, who are actually pretty red hot with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase leading the way for that offense. Tommy, I'm going to keep this with you, and I have to ask you, who do you have winning this game? I will preface that Connor did say the Bengals would win.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with him. I think that with Joe Burrow, the way that he's played, especially down the stretch, and I know Jamar Chase, like you mentioned, he's been playing incredibly well, also. So, the Raiders are coming off of a really big win, like you mentioned. I mean, they would have been in with the tie, but yeah, this is tough. I think it'll be a really good game, but gotta go with Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Mike.
Yeah, I gotta go with Burrow as well. I was very tempted to pick the Raiders. There's just like something about them right now. But I mean, you just like if you look at everything as a whole, just the Bengals have every sort of advantage in the book. Last time they played, the Bengals blew them out by 20 points. And over the past few weeks, the Raiders really have not been too impressive. They won games by like 3-4 points. Even that game against the Chargers, they let Herbert and the Chargers get back into that game, fourth down conversion after fourth down conversion. And I think really the only way to beat the Bengals is passing the ball. And just, since the Cowboys game, Derek Carr has not been good enough, in my opinion, to win a playoff game, relying on his arm. So I gotta go with the Bengals here. I think they're the better team, and they will come out on top.
Yeah, last time these two teams played, Joe Mixon had a field day on the ground. I expect the opposite. I think Joe Burrow is going to have a field day in his first playoff game. Not the field days that he's been having late in the season, 525 yards. I don't think that's going to happen. 400 yards against the Chiefs, Jamar Chase's killer game. I don't think that's going to happen either, but I do think that Joe Burrow is going to be able to find a way to win this game. And I'm very confident in the Bengals moving forward in this playoffs. Like I said, I think they have the offense to do it. It's just up to the defense if they're ready for that challenge. But I got the Bengals here. It's pretty interesting. I forgot to preface with this. All of these games except the Cowboys, 49ers, all these teams played each other so far this year, including two rivals, the Bills, Patriots, and then later we got the Cardinals, Rams that we're going to talk about. They played each other twice. So I think all these teams have played each other. All these teams know what is going to come of these teams. So I think that's very interesting. It's not something you see that often.
Yeah. I mean, usually like the playoffs are for matchups that haven't happened yet, right?
Yeah.
And the only one that hasn't happened is the Cowboys Niners. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the previous matchups are going to affect the matchups now.
Yeah. Moving over to the NFC, start with this game that doesn't count on Go Picks. It's the Bucs-Eagles game. Bucs have been pretty beaten up. Mike Evans is the only receiver left, a part of that stacked wide receiver core that we saw last year. We know Antonio Brown is gone. Chris Godwin tore his ACL. Scotty Miller is still there, but he hasn't been seeing anything. Brashad Perriman and Johnson.
Scotty Miller actually did have like a nice jet sweep handoff for a touchdown run.
You just never know what Bucs wide receiver is gonna.
Yeah, you know it's gonna be well. Mike Evans, Gronk, and you're gonna have another guy in there.
Yeah. They're going up against the Eagles, who have been pretty well defensively throughout the whole season. Jalen Hurts has found a way to make it to the playoffs with Nick Sirianni after a very slow start. One thing to note, Eagles haven't beaten a playoff team in We'll see if they can beat the Bucks. I'm gonna have to stick with the Bucks though. Just a safe option. I do think the Eagles can possibly win this game, but I'm not gonna bet against Tom Brady just yet in the playoffs. Mike,
Yeah, no, like I like the Eagles, and I love the job that Nick Sirianni has done. He's definitely a Coach of the Year candidate. But like, especially with like all the adjustments he made mid-season to really go with that running game, they're the best running team in the NFL. And I think if Levante David is not a full go for the Bucks, they've I wouldn't say struggle, but they haven't been that Tampa Bay Bucks rush defense that we all know where they got Vita Vea and Dominican Sue up front and really clog all the gaps. But it's gonna be interesting to see how that matchup works out. But I think the Bucks will come out on top, and hopefully they could get some guys back healthy. Apparently Leonard Fournette's going to be back, Shaq Barrett's going to be back, JPP is going to be back, so they got a lot of guys. Jamel Dean, he's probably not going to be back, but I think they'll be okay against the Eagles at home.
This game is the best rush team based on yards versus the best pass team based on yards, which is very interesting to see because that I feel like that is also rare when we're talking about playoff matchups. Tommy, we both went with the Bucks. Are you going to just do the same, or are you going to take a Philly underdog team?
Don't think I can take the underdog in this one. Got to go with the Bucks. I mean, like you said, although he doesn't have his, his regular weapons that he had for a good portion of the season, got to go with Tom Brady. Tough to pick against him. I think he will win this game. Not sure he'll get past this point, but I say they win in round one.
A team that they could quite possibly be playing in round two is the Dallas Cowboys, and they have a big matchup against the San Francisco 49ers, who defeated the Los Angeles Rams in overtime. Mike, I'm obviously going to throw it to you because let's be real, you're going to take the longest time doing this, and you've got that Cowboys logo right behind you. I mean, the Cowboys are coming off a blowout win in Week 18. Take it as you want, with the Eagles resting a majority of their starters. But they're looking red hot. Do you think that's going to continue against the 49ers defense?
Yeah, I think they're going to beat the 49ers. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm surprised the spread is only 3 points, though. I know the 49ers have been good, but they really have not been like quote unquote like dominating teams. It's really been close matchups with everyone. They lost a close game to the Titans. They just beat the Rams in a close game. Surprisingly, Sean McVay blew a second half lead, but I just think the Niners have the Rams numbered, and I think the Cowboys, Parsons needs to be glued to Deebo Samuel all game. I think that's the formula to stop Deebo Samuel, because Parsons is so electric. He's so dynamic that he'll be able to keep up with Deebo, and I think if the Cowboys do that, I think the offense is just going to be fine. The Niners secondary is not very good, and I think he's been awesome in his past 3 playoff games. I think he's going to have a field day against the Niners, and the Cowboys are going to win.
Tommy, Dak Prescott, he's going up against Jimmy Garoppolo in a big round one game. Are you going to be siding with Mike's Cowboys, or are you going to be going with the upset alert 49ers?
I'm going to go with the 49ers. I was thinking the Cowboys, but I'm going to go with the upset. Their offense has been struggling, Dallas, that is. And, I know that they've had, some signs of life, but I think that the 49ers are going to come away with the win. I hope not for Mike, but we'll see.
Well, it's good to end on a nice note for Mike, at least.
Yeah. Hey, I'm rooting for him. I just, I'm going to go with the upset.
I think that this game is very interesting. I just don't believe in Jimmy Garoppolo. Like that at the end of the day, I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to win you a playoff game if it had to come to quarterback. Because the 49ers defense is great. I think they definitely could shut down Dallas's offense, or at least slow down Dallas's offense for a little, and be able to get opportunities to put points on the board. But I just can't trust Jimmy Garoppolo. I understand Jimmy Garoppolo made it to a Super Bowl 2 years ago, and Kyle Shanahan is just a genius as a head coach, but I'm going to have to roll with Mike McCarthy as he comes back into the playoffs with a different quarterback under the helm. I think the Cowboys have a very good offense, and as long as that offense is staying hot, and they're consistent, which should they've kind of struggled this year. But if their offense is hot, I think they're a team that could definitely make the conference championship in the NFC. And they're going to have a great matchup against Tampa Bay if our predictions are right.
One thing I want to point out before we move on, Dallas leads the league in takeaways. They lead the league in turnover differential as well. So they're really good at taking away the ball and not necessarily giving it back. And one thing, Jimmy Garoppolo has been prone to do the past couple of weeks is turn over the ball. He had 2 picks against the Rams. He had some other turnovers in past games as well. And I think the Cowboys are going to get 1, maybe even 2 picks off of Jimmy G. That's going to help them win the game.
Speaking of turnovers, we have a very turnover friendly quarterback in the final game of the NFC playoffs, and that is Matthew Stafford, a guy who I really wouldn't think I would be saying is a turnover friendly quarterback, but he's been turning over the ball frequently towards the back end of this season, many pick sixes, and just ended his last throw of the regular season was an interception to San Francisco in overtime. They're going up against the Arizona Cardinals, hosting the Arizona Cardinals in the Super Bowl arena, SoFi Stadium. Both teams, they split the series so far, and they're both very talented teams on offense. I think that this is the best game that we have here. I will say that Connor, if I didn't say the last game, Connor did pick Dallas, and he is picking the Los Angeles Rams for this game too. I'll throw it to myself first. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams, and I think that this is a very tough game to pick, but I'm going to have to side with the Rams because I think Matthew Stafford and the weapons that he has, Odell Beckham Jr. has been able to get the touches that he's really wanted. Cooper Kupp, of course. I love that guy. And even Van Jefferson, I think that offense is going to carry them to the victory. The Cardinals offense is fantastic. The addition of Zach Ertz is really showing up to be one of the best acquisitions of this season. But I don't know. It's going to be a shootout. This was the toughest game for me to pick, and I'm really interested to see what you guys have to say. But I just am going to have to side with the Rams. It's totally off gut here. Mike, I'm interested to see what Mike has to say.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the best, probably the best game of the wild card weekend. We got 2 divisional rivals that split their in-season matchups, and really 2 teams that haven't necessarily lived up to early season expectations as well. But I think I still have to go with the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals have been awesome on the road, and they're getting some key pieces back. Obviously, James Conner was back last week. I think Chase Edmonds could be back as well. J.J. Watt got activated off of IR. I don't know if DeAndre Hopkins is going to be back. I don't think so. But regardless, Rondale Moore should be back as well. And the Cardinals have been weirdly good on the road. They're 8-1 in all of their road games this season. And throwing it back to the first time the Cardinals and Rams met, they played in SoFi, and the Cardinals beat them by 17 points. And I think it's going to be a much closer game, but I think that the Cardinals are going to be to come out on top and turn Matthew Stafford over, because he's been weirdly prone to turning the ball over the past however many weeks. He's leading the league in interceptions right next to Trevor Lawrence right now. So I got to go with the Cardinals here. I like their defense, and I think they're going to get enough done on offense.
Tommy, I mean, this is the first time that, well, you said 49ers, so I guess we disagreed before, but this is the first time where it's really been a split here. You can make it a 2-2 split if you go with the Arizona. Who do you think is going to win this game?
I think I'm going to make it a split. I'm going to go with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. I just think that, the Rams are a great team, but I think they're going to come out on top in this one. I don't know. I just like the way that Murray plays. I think he's, stepped up in some big moments, and we're going to go with the Cardinals for this one.
I mean, I'm going to pose this question quickly. They talked about on ESPN I was watching the other day. Can you trust Matthew Stafford in the playoffs is the real question. And Mike, you did say how he's leading the league in interceptions with Trevor Lawrence. Can you trust this guy to take you to the conference championship and even further? Because they traded this guy for the sole fact that they want to win that Super Bowl. They literally went all in, traded for Von Miller. They have no draft picks, this year and next year, at least first round draft picks. Can you trust this guy in the playoffs, Mike?
I don't know, because he has a very limited playoff experience. I think he's played one game, and that was against Dallas. I think from
He's
my
played
memory,
two.
what?
I think he's played two. I don't know.
Well, I know he played Dallas in one from my memory. I think he played pretty well in that game, but I don't know, because there's so many teams that are so good at taking the ball over, and that's why they're in the playoffs. We talked about Dallas. The Bucs are good at taking the ball over. The Bills as well. So I don't think, as of right now, I don't think the Rams are going to be able to win the Super Bowl.
He's played three, actually. He's 0-3.
Yeah.
So, Tommy, can you trust Matt Stafford?
Don't have enough information to comment on this. I'm going to say no, but don't know as much about Matthew Stafford, not going to lie, but I'm going to say no.
I love Matthew Stafford. I don't think I could trust him to take them to the Super Bowl, though. I think he's just in key moments. He has been so prone to turn the ball over. And you think about their really big games that they had. I mean, San Francisco's won. They could have had the number 2 seed and could have played the New Orleans Saints. But even playing the Packers, who's number 1 in the NFC, he turned the ball over twice, I think, and one was a pick six. Same thing with the Titans. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC. He threw a pick six, and I think he turned the ball over maybe 2 more times, or at least once. And even turning the ball over against Arizona, who's a good playoff team. I think when it comes down to the playoff games, against the playoff teams that are very strong, he's going to struggle. And that's going to be it. And we'll have to see how he does. He's turned the ball over 8 times in the past four games. So we'll have to see how he does. Rounding out today's episode, we got Super Bowl predictions. Obviously, we'll pick the Super Bowl on Go Picks, when we actually know the Super Bowl pick. That matchup. Who do you guys think is going to be traveling to Los Angeles come February 14th, 13th, Tommy's birthday? And who do you think is going to be taking away the victory in the Lombardi Trophy? I'm going to start with you, Mike, if you're done coughing.
I think I'm done. I think I'm done for now. It's kind of like a radio all over again, but it's very interesting. I feel like the AFC was pretty straightforward for me, and I have the Tennessee Titans making the Super Bowl. I just loved what they have done in terms of, defensively, especially. They have been so good at controlling the line of scrimmage, one of the best run defenses in the NFL. Their secondary is still gettable. The secondary is definitely still gettable, but I think with Derrick Henry coming back, they were playing like one of the best teams in the NFL with Derrick Henry. And I think a lot of the teams that they could possibly face, I think they're going to face the Bills or maybe even the Chiefs. I think and they beat both those teams earlier in the season. And I think they're going to have the same game plan to beat them this time around. And I think they're going to get it done. So I got the Titans making out of the AFC, and unfortunately in the NFC, I do have the Green Bay Packers. Matt's excited. He never thought I would pick them. It's very tough because they have had such a close margin of error. And they've won a lot of one possession games, like the Browns and so many other teams in the NFL. But the fact that they still got it done, I think they will eventually lose in the Super Bowl to the Tennessee Titans. I just feel like their margin of error is so small, and I think Derrick Henry is going to have a big game, and the Titans are going to come out on top and win the Super Bowl.
Mike, I am so proud of you, Mike. I never thought you'd pick the Packers.
The thing is, I was going through the bracket last night, and I do think that the Cowboys are going to go to Tampa and beat Tampa. They almost beat them week 1, and Tampa, with a weakened roster, I think the Cowboys are going to be able to get it done this time around, right? But I think they're going to go to Green Bay and lose. It's just never easy sledding. But I do think if the Bucs win that game, they'll go to Green Bay, beat Green Bay, and they'll go to the Super Bowl and win it. I know that's why I was saying earlier that the NFC is much more tougher in my mind. But I do think that the Packers are going to make the Super Bowl and the Titans will beat the Packers in the Super Bowl.
Well, thank God for you picking the Dallas Cowboys. Tommy,
You don't know how close I need to be as objective as I could be about this.
Yeah. Tommy, you heard Mike's prediction. What's your prediction?
Well, I'm going to have the same team out of the NFC. Got to go with the Green Bay Packers, of course. And then I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills out of the AFC. And I'm going to say the Bills win the whole thing 34-31 in overtime in the Super Bowl. That's my prediction. Locking it in right now. Yeah, I think the Bills, they're going to break the drought and win the whole thing. Although see, once again, I'd like to see the Packers win for you, Matt Kane, but I would like to see the Bills win. So I don't know. We'll see.
I'm glad you ended it on that note, Tommy. Really, really, heartfelt. I felt that, Tommy.
I'm
NFC. I'm gonna go with the Packers. I think it might be Packers Cowboys too, Mike. Actually, depends what the Bucks can do. I think Packers will beat the Bucks anyway. But the AFC, we're all gonna have different teams because I think the Kansas City Chiefs are just gonna make it again for 3 years straight. I think it's either gonna be the Chiefs Bills because they're gonna be playing. If they both win since they're 2-3. So I think the winner of that is gonna move on. And I even have the Bengals if you want to go that far in my bracket. I have the Bengals upsetting the Titans. Don't really believe in Ryan Tannehill, but we'll have to see what they could do with Derrick Henry back. Packers beat the Chiefs. We finally get that State Farm championship. The Packers beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers runs out in the sunset. Maybe retires, comes back to Green Bay, doesn't leave. He doesn't leave. That is all part of my plan. And the Packers win the Super Bowl. We'll have to see what happens. I'm totally ready for a conference championship loss, though. Totally ready.
Matt, I just want to swing it back to the AFC really quick. I do think that the Bengals are a good matchup for the Tennessee Titans because they have a really good rush defense, but their pass defense is more of a weakness in that part. And obviously, like I mentioned before, that Tennessee has a great run defense, but their pass defense is struggling as well. So I think Tennessee is very gettable in the back end. I think obviously Joe Burrow, with all of his weapons, could get the Tennessee Titans and knock them out of the playoffs. So I kind of feel like I'm most nervous for that game. Just one more thing before we continue. I think at the best of the best, like if each team play like their best game, I do think the Cowboys and the Bills are the two best teams in the NFL, but they have been too inconsistent over the course of the season for me to pick them. I wouldn't be surprised if either team made the Super Bowl as I have them making the conference championship. Just something else to throw out there. I'm done.
Okay. Well, that's gonna finalize our final Super Bowl predictions prior to the game on Tommy's birthday, February 13th. We got a great ending to this episode. We don't have goal picks, but we got a nice goat of the week to finish off episode 116. We'll see you right away. Welcome back to Go Chat. We are back with the goat of the week. Last week, Mike did win the goat of the week, which makes Tommy further away from Mike for that third place. Mike is catching up to Connor. I'm pretty sure he's got 16, 17, 15, whatever wins. He won with Jamar Chase, who had the monster day, like I said prior. He's got a good pick this week, I hear. The great player. He's one of the GOATs. And he was my fantasy hero. Mike, I'll let you take this away.
Come on. Cooper Kupp. It's got to be Cooper Kupp. He secured the triple crown in terms of wide receivers. He led the league in receptions by over 20. He led the league in yards by over 300. And he led the league in touchdowns by 2 over Mike Evans. I mean, Cooper Kupp, from the beginning of the year to the end of the year was absolutely insane. Like he was explosive on all levels, and obviously there's a lot of discourse talking about where he like ranks, in terms of like wide receivers and like skill level and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, his production is the best in the entire NFL, and that was sealed. Unfortunately, he couldn't get the the single season yards record over Calvin Johnson, but he did get the triple crown, absolutely dominating every receiver in every possible category. And he did that this week, so it's got to be Cooper Kupp.
All right, Tommy, let's hear the rebuttal.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with Rachel Balkovich this week. She was named as the first female manager in minor league history, which great hire for the Yankees. She's going to manage the single A Tampa Tarpons, and she has so much experience. She's worked as a minor league hitting coach for the Yankees, and she's also been the Cardinals and Astros systems as well. So very deserving and a great hire for the Yankees. So yeah, got to go with Rachel for this one. I think she's the clear winner this week. I know there's some performances on the field that were great, but this is a pretty historic day and big move for the Yankees organization.
Tommy, what is a tarpon? Oh,
I think it's a fish.
it is.
Yeah.
It's a nice logo. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it
100%.
is a pretty nice logo, but yeah, I think it's a great hire for them and definitely, helps the minor league system for the Yankees.
Yeah, that's a great pick as well. To round out the go of the week, I'm gonna have to go with the Georgia Bulldogs head coach Kirby Smart, who finally secured his first college football playoff championship. And if you watched any of that game, it was kind of a boring game until the fourth quarter. But all in all, I think Kirby Smart outcoached one of the greatest coaches in college football history, being Nick Saban, and he finally got that win. I'm so happy for Kirby. It's long time. It's been a long time. Obviously, Alabama beat them 4 years ago with Jake Fromm and Tua and Jalen. I think that's when Jalen got benched for Tua, and Tua came in and won that game and overall got that starting job. So I think it's a long time coming, and I have to give total props to Kirby Smart for outcoaching Nick Saban and ultimately winning this game for the Georgia Bulldogs. Obviously, Stetson Bennett had a great fourth quarter. Same thing with James Cook, Dalvin's brother, had a good game. But I think all in all, this is a win for Kirby Smart, and finally puts that on his resume, because a lot of people said, Kirby's never won a championship. Finally went to go out there and showed that he was a good coach, and is a part of history now. So he's my go of the week.
I mean, listen, Kirby was absolutely phenomenal. I really can't take anything away from him. I was the only one here that picked Georgia to win the national championship. Very proud about that pick. And he really put together one of the best defenses we've seen this century in college football history. Obviously, you got the 2011, 2012 Bama team, Miami in the earlier 2000s, but Georgia's right up there with him. And he's one of the first coach since like the 1980 to win a school national championship as a coach for their alma mater. So because he played safety at Georgia, and also he was 0-4 against Nick Saban before this, leading by 10 points in all of those games, but finally got it done. I'm making the case for Kirby Smart right now.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Mike.
Listen, he was absolutely awesome, and he got my back.
Listen, and I'll make a case for Cooper Kupp. Phenomenal year for him. Probably the best receiver, in my opinion, probably the best receiver this past year. He's been phenomenal in terms of yards, catches, touchdowns, and truly has been a pleasure to have as a fantasy manager. I will forever love Cooper Kupp, and I wish him a good year next year, and hopefully I could draft him as well, but who knows. And of course, Tommy's pick is phenomenal too. I can't really say anything because I don't know who she is and don't really know anything about the Yankees minor leagues or any of their staff, but I'm sure that she is a phenomenal hire, as we have 3 GOATs on this screen right now.
I think not only is it great for the Yankees, but I think it's going to have a ripple effect on the rest of Major League Baseball. I think you're going to see a lot more of women getting hired into coaching roles and managerial roles. And this is just a first step. We got Kim. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Like
Kim Ang.
Kim Ang.
Yep.
Hired as general manager for the Miami Marlins. That was the first step. Now Rachel hired as the low A manager for the Yankees. We're just keep continuing to step forward.
Yep. And that is going to be another great episode of Go Chat. You're going to see a little different scheduling this next semester. Connor and I are going to be in LA. Mike and Tommy are going to be in Ithaca. Tommy is taking a bigger role in the journalism. What am I? Oh, the Ithacan, which is a journalism kind of thing at Ithaca College. Of course, Mike's got, follow Mike's TikToks and everything that he's doing. That's phenomenal. So it's going to be a little different. We're not going to be posting every week. It's probably going to be more, on the spot.
Sporadic.
Yeah, sporadic episodes whenever we can get together. But any final thoughts, guys? I'm not sure the next time. Maybe next week we'll be on. I'm not sure. Any final thoughts before?
I mean, what a way to end, possibly, one of the last episodes for a long time. We're being so nice to each other during the week. This is usually where it gets most tense, but I love the positive ending.
Yeah.
I know. Hopefully we have some episodes soon, but I know no arguments with Connor and Mike today. It's a shame, but
I think it's pretty fair to say that Connor is the problem. Like it's pretty apparent now.
Oh man, too bad Connor can't rebuttal off that. But we'll have some. We'll try to have go picks, in weekly, maybe some content on Instagram. Some Instagram lives possibly after NFL games. But we will definitely be in touch, but not totally sure how YouTube is going to work out this next semester. But that is all for Go Chat here. It's kind of a bittersweet ending. We were very nice to each other, very kind, giving each other, great tips or great points on our Go to the Weeks. But that is going to be the end of episode 116. Of course, smash that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram because we might be more active there than here. And make sure to keep track of everything Go Chat. We will see you guys next time